Most people over 50 wake up every morning and follow the same routine without thinking twice. They do the same things, in the same order, every single day, and most of them have no idea that several of those habits, things that feel completely harmless, even healthy, are quietly putting pressure on their heart before the day has even started. Today, we're going to look at 9 morning habits that are slowly damaging your heart after 50. And more importantly, what to do instead, so your mornings start working for your heart, not against it. And make sure you stay until the end, because habit number 8 is one that almost everyone does, and almost no one suspects. Before we get into the habits, it's important to understand why mornings are so critical for heart health, especially after 50. In the early hours after waking, your body goes through a series of powerful biological shifts. Blood pressure naturally rises, stress hormones like cortisol surge, blood becomes slightly thicker and more prone to clotting, heart rate increases. These changes are completely normal. Your body is preparing you for the day ahead. But here's the problem. After 50, the heart and blood vessels are less flexible than they once were. They are more sensitive to stress, dehydration, and sudden demands. That means the choices you make in the first hour of your morning have a much bigger impact on your cardiovascular system than they did at 30. The good news is, small changes to your morning routine can make a significant difference. Let's start with habit number 1. Most people wake up and within 30 seconds, they're already scrolling. Emails, news, social media, notifications. Here is what is happening inside your body during those first moments. Your cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is already at its natural morning peak. It's supposed to be. That surge is what wakes you up and prepares your body for movement. But when you immediately flood your brain with stressful information, bad news, arguments online, an urgent email from work, you add a second cortisol spike on top of the first one. For your heart, that means elevated blood pressure, increased heart rate, and heightened inflammation, all before you've even gotten out of bed. Over time, this chronic morning stress response accelerates arterial stiffness and raises your long-term cardiovascular risk. The fix is simple. Give yourself just 10 minutes before touching your phone. Let your cortisol normalize naturally. Your heart will thank you. Here's something most people don't think about. When you wake up, you have just spent 7 or 8 hours without a single drop of water. Your body is mildly dehydrated every single morning. And dehydration, even mild dehydration, has a direct effect on your heart. When your blood lacks sufficient water, it becomes thicker and more viscous. Your heart has to work harder to pump it through your blood vessels. Blood pressure rises. The risk of blood clots increases. Research shows that people who drink at least 1 glass of water first thing in the morning have meaningfully better cardiovascular outcomes over time. The fix is one of the easiest on this list. Before coffee, before breakfast, before anything else, drink a full glass of water. That single habit begins rehydrating your blood and easing the workload on your heart immediately. Coffee itself is not the enemy. In fact, moderate coffee consumption has been linked to several cardiovascular benefits. But when and how you drink it matters enormously. When you drink coffee on a completely empty stomach first thing in the morning, several things happen at once. Caffeine triggers a sharp spike in cortisol, which is already elevated in the morning. It stimulates the release of adrenaline, and it causes an immediate rise in blood pressure and heart rate. For a younger heart with flexible arteries, this is manageable. But after 50, when arterial walls are less elastic and blood pressure tends to run higher, that morning caffeine jolt places real additional stress on the cardiovascular system. The fix is not to give up coffee. It's to eat something small first, even a banana or a handful of nuts, before your first cup. This buffers the cortisol spike and significantly reduces the cardiovascular impact. This one surprises many people. When you are lying down, your blood pressure is naturally lower and your blood is pooled toward the center of your body. The moment you stand up, gravity pulls blood downward toward your legs. Your heart and blood vessels have to respond immediately, pumping harder and constricting blood vessels to maintain blood pressure to your brain. In a young, healthy cardiovascular system, this adjustment happens almost instantly. But after 50, this process slows down. The result is a condition called orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when standing. This can cause dizziness, lightheadedness, and in some cases, dangerous falls. More importantly, The repeated daily demand of a sudden blood pressure shift places unnecessary strain on your heart. The fix is to transition slowly. Before getting up, sit at the edge of your bed for 30 to 60 seconds. Allow your body to adjust. This small pause protects both your heart and your balance. Cereal, flavored yogurt, fruit juice, white toast with jam. These are some of the most common breakfast choices, and they all share one dangerous characteristic. They flood your bloodstream with sugar within minutes of eating. Here is why that matters for your heart. A rapid blood sugar spike forces your pancreas to release a large surge of insulin. Insulin, in high repeated doses, promotes inflammation throughout the body, including in the walls of your arteries. Over time, this chronic inflammatory response damages the inner lining of blood vessels. That damage is precisely where arterial plaque begins to build. Research consistently links high glycemic breakfasts that spike blood sugar quickly, with increased risk of heart disease, especially in adults over 50. The fix is to anchor your breakfast with protein and healthy fat. Eggs, nuts, avocado, Greek yogurt without added sugar. These foods release energy slowly, keep blood sugar stable, and reduce the inflammatory load on your arteries every single morning. Many people plan to exercise later in the day, and sometimes they do, but often, life gets in the way, and movement never happens at all. Here is why morning movement specifically matters for your heart. During sleep, circulation naturally slows. Blood moves more sluggishly. The lymphatic system, which removes inflammatory waste from your tissues, depends almost entirely on muscle movement to function. When you go straight from sleep to a sedentary morning, sitting at breakfast, sitting in the car, sitting at a desk, circulation stays sluggish. Inflammatory markers remain elevated, blood pressure stays higher than it needs to. Even 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement, a short walk, light stretching, or simple bodyweight exercises, is enough to activate circulation, lower blood pressure, and reduce morning inflammatory levels. You don't need a full workout. You need a signal. Move your body and your heart immediately responds. Next part 2.